Now, today we'll go in detail about the parts of a research paper. So as the next bit of a today, the paper is what are the parts of a research paper? Nothing but when you talk about the format of a research paper and report writing, you need to even know what are the components of a research paper, because or generally what we talk about the newspaper only, and the newspaper and a magazine, there you are going to get an headings, and after the headings you will get a small, the first starts with the city name. So from, I mean, from which city the coverage has been given in the newspaper or news article. Similarly, here we are also going to have in the research, scientific research papers, there are different components. Those must be necessarily available. If those are not available, then it will not be considered as the scientifically validated research articles. You need to put all the components correctly. So the research paper means, for example, if you are having a question, I mean, if you want to do something that, and if it is not clearly not been experimentally proven by anyone, because science, again, experimentally, science, most of the times we can prove it experimentally. So if you have that particular question in your mind, you can go for selection of a research, and you can go for conduct of the research according to the plans, what, how you want to execute it, and how there should be. Because once you want to do something, you will be having some imagination that you will get either this or this. For example, let me talk you about a simple question, that so when you take a plant, let us take this one lot, we have Vinca rosea plant. So Vinca rosea plants have two important compounds. The most important compounds of Vinca rosea is vincristine as well as vinblastine. Am I going first? Am I going first?
No,
Someone
sir.
respond? Yeah, fine. So here what happens? Vincristine, vinblastine are the two important anti-cancer compounds. So let us take, when we talk about the Vinca rosea. So if you conduct the research in such a way that you should get vincristine and vinblastine. So here what happens, to get the vincristine and vinblastine, you need to have some basic experimental idea, nothing but in which component or in which chemical or in which solvents this vincristine vinblastine can be obtained. So random experiments will not be, cannot give you the correct or accurate results. So you need to next go for extraction of a the crude extract. I mean, nothing but you are supposed to separate the secondary metabolites. In the secondary metabolites, you are supposed to go for separation of alkaloids, phenols, steroids. All those things you need to go for separation. So once after the separation, then you need to go for vincristine, vinblastine. Are these two compounds belongs to which category? So I mean, if they are belongs to alkaloids or steroids or flavonoids or anything. So once after that, some liquid. Excuse me. So, for example, let us take Wincrest and Winblaster, the two alkaloids and alcohols. So, once you found that these two belongs to alkaloid class of the secondary metabolites, you need to go for separation of alkaloid. So, how to separate the alkaloids? You must have that idea. So, without knowing the separation of idea, how to separate the alkaloid, then it's of no use. We cannot get the Wincrest and Winblaster. So, after the separation, you need to go for alkaloids, or again, it's a big group of the secondary metabolites. There again, you need to go for separation again, finer separation, so that you are going to get the vincristine and a vinblast in a very pure form. At least it should be 99.3% pure. Then only it can be considered as it's a good research output. Similarly, that particular question, when you have that, you need to have the common basic idea of executing the research. So after that, you need to go for. So you have done you have got vincristine and vinblastine and the two compounds. Now you need to show that you have got these two compounds, and the audience must know that, because the research should not be what we call restricted to only in the laboratory condition only to you. That has to be published. That has to be known to all the audiences, so that they too will come to know what is the importance of vincristine and vinblastine, and they will come to know what actually you are doing in the laboratory. So to bring it to the audience, you need to go for formatting the research that already we have completed. And now, for while after for the formatting of research articles, you have follow the different style guides, and by following any standard reference, by following any standard journal article, and you want to publish in that, and they will ask you to format in particular pattern. So that particular pattern, before formatting that particular pattern, you need to have some of the components in the research paper. And what are those? Today will let you know that. Here, one first thing is, am I audible, guys?
Yes, sir.
So the first thing is that cover page. The main sections, a typical APA, American Psychological Association, uh, usually not APA, all MLA, Chicago, APA, Tarabian, and the AMA.
Or-
So all will be yeah. So all will be having common sections. Okay, na? But the patterns are a guide. I mean the style of articulation of your what we call the research paper is quite different from one to another. So usually what happens, they don't get confused with only the APA. Most of the journals or most of the style guides require these eight. One is cover page. What is that cover page? So you may ask. So when it comes to now, let me talk about the research book. Then we can go for the research article. So this is what a cover page. So what is cover page contains in any textbook? You just will go. For example, this what a plant anatomy book published by the S. Chand, author is B. P. Pandey. So the cover page should contain the title of a book, followed by what are the important components included in this particular book. Next, they have given the author name as well as the affiliations of the author, followed by the publication details. This is what the cover page. But similarly, in the if this is what a book, let me tell you that guys, these things should be written because in the coming slide I have not given any information about the cover page. Cover page ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಏನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ that you people have to write it. Okay, na? So just don't write it as a cover page because I have seen many of the assignments in the Google Classroom that the students just writing the thing what they have got it from the what we call the slides as a screenshot ತಗೊಂಡು just ಬರೀತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So henceforth to avoid this, this today I have not gone detailed explanation about 1 to 8 components of a research article as well as the research. I mean the textbook. So the cover page that they have to the orally explaining and you people have to write it in the assignments. Fine. So after when it comes to the research article, the cover page should contain the title of the paper and the keywords. We'll tell you what are those keywords and all those things. The next will help you. Those no? Any doubts?
Sir, ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ ಸರ್ ಸರ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ ಸರ್ ತೋರಿಸಿ ಸರ್ ಕವರ್ ಪೇಜ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ.
Cover page. Okay. So there are majorly any of the scientifically research output you need to go for publication. They should contain 8 components. Okay, now in that the first one is the cover page. So the cover page nothing but it is going to be said as the first page of your research article or a textbook. So usually the textbook, what it contains, the title of the paper, as I already told you, I mean the title of a textbook, followed by what are the important components which are included in that particular book. I mean, is it containing the plant anatomy? Plant anatomy of what it contains, the meristems, anatomical details of angiosperms, and some important components of the developmental stages of the plant. All these will be all are the components of the particular book. At the center of the paper. So when you take a A4 size paper, at the center you are going to get the author name as well as the affiliation of that author. For example, I am the Dr. Arjun Shetty, I'm the author of the book. There, after my name, in the bottom of that, we have to provide the affiliation to the Department of Botany, Shanbas University, Kalburgi, Karnataka, India. Fine. At the last, again at the center of the page, I mean at the center of the last part of the page, there you have to write the publication details. I mean, S. Chan Publications, New Delhi, authoring the details of a publication has to be given with along with the year when they are being published. So this sort of cover page in the text. Now it comes to the research article. Research article, for example, you have done a complete research article. So you have done all the research and you are going for production. I mean publication to that. So while publication, you need to prepare a cover page containing the title of the article, followed by the keywords. Keywords nothing but for example, I have done plant tissue culture work on plant tissue culture work on sugarcane. My research is again genetic engineering and plant tissue culture on sugarcane. And will let me can I show the page 1 second? What are the keywords and that? 1 second, we'll share that and we'll come to know what actually in ಇರ್ತದೆ. Cluster science. Okay, so before it's get open, we'll explain that on another components of a cover page. In the components of the cover page of in a research article should contain the title of the article, followed by the author details. Nothing but who is going to be the first author, second author, third author. He has many as number of authors you want. You are they are helped. They have done the research along with you. Along with that, the corresponding author. Nothing but if for example, if you have 5 to 6 authors, the journal editor will have the only we will communicate with only one person, so that will be considered as a corresponding author to the particular article. Nothing but any of the information to be exchanged between the what we call the uh, editorial board of a journal in which you are going to publish, along with among the among the 5 authors, one has to take a lead that so that he is going to have some the communication to till publication is done. Okay, na? And next to that, affiliations of each author. For example, when I'm writing some articles, I will some of my friends from IIT, Indian Institute of Technology, will help me. Some of my friends will from IIS, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, will help me. Some from the Central University of Hyderabad, they may help me. So, for example, all we 5 have together have contributed for the research. At that time, when I would like to give the what we call all the 4 persons as an author for the authorship, there I have need to mention that Dr. Arjun Shetty. Below that, I have to mention my affiliation. Next, for example, the Monesh. So Monesh belongs to Central Institute of Hyderabad. They have mentioned as at the second. If the Monesh is second author, at the second after my name, the second name Monesh, affiliations of the Monesh, that is ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಾಟನಿ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ, ಅಂಡ್ someone from the Guru Kiran, if he is from Indian Institute of Science, you have to mention the Department of Applied Botany, Indian Institute of Science. Such affiliation has to be given. As many authors are there, as many affiliations has to be given. If suppose a 2 authors belong to same affiliation, even then also you have to write twice. For example, Nanu, Shanbaswa University, Kiran sir, Shanbaswa University, second author, third author from Indian Institute of Science, at that time you have to mention 1 Department of Botany, Shanbaswa University, Kalburgi, 2 Department of Botany, Shanbaswa University, Kalburgi, like that. If not, okay, if not, sometimes ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ the journal will ask you to annotate with 1, 2, 3, 4. For example, 5 authors ಇದಾರೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊರಿ. So 2 author belongs to the Shanbaswa University and the 3 author belongs to the different ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊರಿ. At that time, you have to annotate each person with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 according to the affiliation. For example, ಈಗ ನಾನು ಶರಣಬಸವ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಯಿಂದ ನಾನು ಕಿರಣ್ ಸರ್ ಇಬ್ರು ಸೇಮ್ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊರಿ. At that time, you have to mention 1 on my name, 1 and again on Kiran sir. Nothing but the 1 indicates affiliations of both the authors are same. The third author name should be 2, fourth author name should be 3, fifth author name should be 4. Like this. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ? So you just mention 1 and put the affiliation only once. Just put the 2 and put the affiliation of that particular author. It should go like. After that, a clear, concise abstract of that particular author paper should be there. What actually mean of abstract? We'll tell you after the completion of the cover page. Okay, na? Next, after the abstract, it should contain the keywords. What actually those keywords are there? For example, I have done genetic engineering course. We'll stop sharing now and we'll go for sharing of article. Present now. A window. Where is that? Biotechnology. So can you all able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So okay. Now see. As I already told you, cover page. biotechnology and drought tolerance is the title of the article. Next, author's name. Satish S. Goyal, Shabir H. Wani, and Manjit S. King is author name, and their affiliation, because all are belong to same institution, so the authorship has been, the affiliation has been given only one. Next, this is what abstract. Abstract, as I already told you. Next, just see the corresponding author. As I already told you that one should have a corresponding, nothing but the communication between the journal as well as the five or four among the authors. So this is what are corresponding address details. Next, keywords. So just see, they have worked on biotechnology and drought tolerance. So most frequently used words, important words of this particular particular article will be mentioned as drought tolerance. So repeatedly used words, most important given words are those will be given as keywords. Drought tolerance, abiotic stress, transgenic, molecular markers, and crop input. So these are the most important and frequently used words in the article. So this will be considered as the keywords. So these should be there in the cover page. Got it?
Yes, sir.
One second.
Yes,
One
sir.
second. Can I continue the class or should I end the session, because Kiran sir already sent the link. If you are comfortable, we'll continue with the class, and we'll ask Kiran sir to not to engage it with this class.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, Andre? Then continue madla.
Yes, sir.
No, if you are
Yes,
getting
sir.
bored and if you are getting burdened ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ, ಬಹಳ ಹೆವಿ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಎಂಗೇಜ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಟೈಮ್ ಬಹಳ ಅಷ್ಟಿದೆ, ನಾನು ಓವರ್.
Told sir.
All the students, what about?
Yes, sir. Towards.
Continue ಮಾಡಿ sir.
ಹೌದಾ? ಓಕೆ, ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಫೈನ್. ಅಯ್ಯೋ. Okay. So research article the cover page ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ. Fine. Now we'll show you the thesis or a report. The 10 page ಹೆಂಗಿರ್ತದೆ. Can you all able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So again, this is of one of my colleague who has done PhD, and her thesis detail is this, and this is what a title of a thesis. Whatever it may be, nodal multiplication and elicitor mediated enhancement of the potent anti-cancer drug camptothecin in nothopotates poetida, white tumor is the title of the article. And cover page, if it is in a thesis form, if the thesis or a report, then it should like this, the title of the paper and the thesis submitted to whom. The thesis submitted to Gulbarga University, Kalburgi, for what? For Doctor of Philosophy in Botany. Who is the author, or who is the person who is responsible for the thesis? The Kaveri Sharanaya. Bye. And below that, Dr. mentioned author name, research supervisor, and pardon, the person who is acting as a mentor, Dr. Srinath Rao, MSc, and exactly this.
Guidance, sir.
I mean, this sort of research supervisor name. Will ದೊಡ್ಡದು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ದೊಡ್ಡದು ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ. Control F1. Now, can you all able to see the complete? Yeah. So finally, the alignment should be in such a way that the author name should come at the center. Notice how we have been formatted. Just see the Kaveri by Kaveri Sharanaya at the center. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So next, the mentor name followed by what we call affiliation of both the author as well as the mentor. This is the Department of Postgraduate Studies in Research in Botany, Gulbarga University, Kalburgi, and the pin code as well as the year. So this is all we have to prepare the cover page. Is that okay? If it is a thesis. Fine. Hope that the screen has lost now. then on window. Okay. Now is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Now the second point is the abstract. What is that abstract? Abstract, nothing but it's an abstract is a detailed summary of the study. Nothing but it should contain the question. Nothing but what is the what was the research, what is going to do, what how you have done, and what is the point of doing the research. For example, I worked on plant tissue culture on the sugarcane. You have to write what is your question. Nothing but the sugarcane plant tissue culture information has to be given, and it should contain the broad overview of the paper, the complete research article. Nothing but it should contain your question, it should contain the significance of the study, why you have taken that particular study, and why you want to make it sure that why the audience should read your article. That particular significance has to be kept in that, and materials and the methods. Nothing but what are the methodology you are employed for conducting of a research, that has to be included in the abstract, and your research findings or a research output or results of that article, that has to be given. So the abstract nothing but is a complete information or a short concise information that contains your research question and significance of your study, materials and or methodology employed for the research, and findings or the research output or the results of your article. That concise information in the form of abstract has to be given in that. Where, as I already told you that, so you can go for citation, nothing but if any original unpublished or published data, if you want to use it in your article, that you have to give the citations to that. And then previous class such information you should not give it in the abstract. Nothing but the abstract should be only the components what you have done, what was there in your mind, not anything which have been borrowed from the other articles. For structuring of other articles in the form of introduction, in methodology, in results, the discussions part, you can use all those. But in the abstract, the information of complete information of what was there in your mind, what was you done by you, and how was the output, what is your significance, and what is the research of the report, that has to be given. Okay, now this is what the abstract. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now coming to the introduction. So what actually the introduction? So introduction, this component or a section which tells the leader that, I mean, if a reader, once you have done the published articles, why we have to keep the introduction? Because the introduction, that particular section will tell the reader what problem your study is attempting to solve. Because I have done the research, they must know that on what basis they have written this particular report. So if I ask you directly, if the sugarcane multiplication has been done greatly in the kinetin as well as BAP supplemented medium, then you are not going to get talaila budaila. So how are you going to understand that? So for that, you need to give introduction in such a way that the reader must know why the particular person has written the article and what was the research motive behind that. Okay, and you can address this study significance and originality of your work in the introduction. Nothing but the study's significance as well as originality of your work. Nothing but introduction part only, by reviewing there you can go for previous another madidara, yaradra madidara. So if they have not done, so they have done only till level, and mine is the extended version of that. And they have done only with, for example, in the sugarcane multiplication only, they have most of the research articles only reported with 20 to 25% of the frequency. Nothing but if you put 100 sugarcane seedlings or explant, only 25 to 30% of our explants were ready to multiply in the mass multiplication, where my research explains about the 80 to 85% of the multiplication. Such originality can be made in the introduction. So overall, that particular introduction clearly stated that the research question in the form of the thesis statement, in the form of research statement, in the form of the problem statement. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now coming to the background. So one more point is that the background is this particular component may be available only in the APA style guide. Most the Chicago, MLA, and Terabian and all those components will not require the background, but in the APA format, the background is required. So what is the background? Background nothing but why you have taken that particular research. What inspired you to take this study? That has to be mentioned in the background. So what you have made, how you have inspired from that particular work without knowing the previous work done, without knowing any of the idea of the already done in the different parts of the world, you will not be having such idea. So, for example, on the bioplastic, so many articles are there in the bioplastic, which have been actually the most of the bioplastic works are related to the German. So Germany ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, but they are not come across with a increasing the tensile as well as the strength of a bioplastic. So this has made curious to work on increasing the tensile as well as the strength of a bioplastic. So that particular work has made me, inspired me, so that I have gone for the work on bioplastic. Such information has to be given. Don't write about the only bioplastic and health is another very but and for explanation I used to mention as you my adela barbar. Okay na? So that should be the articulation should be just like the textbook format or a writing format I mean how you are going to write. Okay na? And you, me, your problem, my problem ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ತೀನಿ. So ಆ ತರ ಬರಿಬಾರ್ದು. Okay na? It should be the very generalized. So this particular topic has been taken an interest that most of the research articles are ended with, again the example bioplastic ended with only they are producing the bioplastic using the different vegetables, but no one has made increasing the tensile as well as the what we call the strength of a bioplastic. So this has made curious and as well as inspired me to put my efforts in increasing the bioplastic tensility as well as the strength of that. So the present work has been formed. It's what a background, correct? So a background should be very neatly and very interestingly you have to articulate. So if you fail in writing the introduction as well as the background in an articulation, because introduction as well as background requires a most intelligent wordings or vocabulary. So what happens? So the reader directly will not go and study the results. The reader will first study the title, abstract, followed by the introduction as well as the background. If you fail to address the audience what was there in your mind clearly by explaining in introduction as well as the background, then audience will not be having the interest to read the result also. Though the result will be having greater importance, greater impact, but introduction and the background should be very cleanly, interestingly articulated, just like a cinematic articulation. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Now coming to the methodology. So what was the methodology applied? One second, my laptop is getting down. Now coming to the methodology. So what actually the methodology? So here in APA style guide they just ask about methodology. So in other style guides they require materials and methods. Okay na? Simultaneously I'm explaining about the other formats also. Fine. So in APA style guides they require the component of after the background methodology should be there. One second guys, ಯಾರು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಒಂದೇ ನಿಮಿಷ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ. Sorry for the inconvenience. Now, in APA guidelines, they ask about only the methodology, nothing but how the experimental design are conducted and how you are executing, and what were the standard parameters you are followed. And if you are following the standard parameters, whether they are applicable as it is or as it is like earlier proposed. For example, ನಿಮಗೆ ನಾನು protein estimation ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. So protein estimation, so you are going to follow the Lowry's method as well or the Bradford method. So Lowry's method follow ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ what are the protocol as well as the components what proposed by the Lowry, you will just follow. Sometimes what happens, this particular Lowry's method is not 100% as it was proposed by Lowry, cannot be applied for your plan. At that sometimes you need to go for minor or a major modification in the protocol. Nothing but ಈಗ sodium carbonate ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಇರ್ತದೆ. So 2% sodium carbonate ಇರ್ತದೆ, but if you put this 2% sodium carbonate, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So you just go for increasing the sodium carbonate to 3% or 4%. So such modification you can do it, and that modification can also, that has to be given detailed in the methodology section. Nothing but how you have done the experiment and what was the experimental methodology you employed, and what are the if there are any modification, you have to mention as a modification that the particular Lowry's methodology has been employed for estimation of a protein with minor modification as it was needed for calculating the protein in the component, where we have increased the sodium carbonate composition for obtaining the correct or accurate data with regard to the protein of my research. Just an example I'm giving. Okay, now so nothing but the methodology, nothing but knowing whether you have used qualitative or a quantitative methods. That's what the important part of understanding your study. So qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative nothing but again related to the quality, nothing but so 98% pure, the qualitative study. So how you are going to purify it? Quantitative method, nothing but the extraction of a compound is a quantitative method. So we are going to extract 1 gram, 2 gram, 10 gram, 100 gram. It's a quantitative method. So this particular methodology is a list where you are going to collect the data, where you are collected the data, survey, experimental design, and a field research. Nothing but ಈಗ ಮೆಥಡಾಲಜಿ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಈಗ ವಿನ್ಕರೋಸಿಯ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋಣ. ವಿನ್ ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಟನ್ ವಿನ್ ಬ್ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಬೆಟ್. ಫ್ರಮ್ ವೇರ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ದಿ ವಿನ್ಕರೋಸಿಯ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್, that you have to mention the materials and methods. So Vincarosia is a plant which is growing commonly in the deciduous and tropical regions of India, and we have collected it from the Botanical Research Garden of San Bosco University.
Sir, voice breaking.
Experimental design of the ಹೌದಾ? Is it true with all?
So voice break ಆಗ್ಲತ್ತದ್ರಿ sir.
Yes, sir.
ಹೌದಾ? ಓಕೆ, ನಾನು ಯಾವ್ದೊಳಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಆಡಿಯೋ? ಮೆಥಡಾಲಜಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ?
ಹಾಂ ಸರ್.
Qualitative and quantitative method.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in qualitative, quantitative, yeah. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ qualitative and quantitative methodology apply ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. So qualitative methodology ಅಂದ್ರೆ so now talk about the quantitative methods ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. So Vincarosia plant ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ you go for the extraction. Extraction is a quantitative method. After that, how much is the quantity of extract you are going to get? Though it is extract, for example, ಒಂದು 100 gram Vincarosia plant ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ you will get around 1 to 2 gram of extract. So that 1 to 2 gram of extract value should be mentioned in the result section. But here you need to mention how the quantitative method you are uploaded. For example, you have gone for oxalate extraction, you have gone for cold extraction, you have gone for hot extraction, you have gone for some other extraction. What the extraction quantitative methodology you have employed for the extraction, that is a quantitative. After that, after obtaining the extract, how you have gone for separation of that, right? So after the separation, what is the total how you are going to analyze whether the extract contains the wind crystal as well as the wind blast. That is a qualitative analysis. So once you have got the wind crystal and a wind blast, and you will go for a qualitative analysis, how much purity, whether it is having any impurities or whether it is having any contamination. That is what a qualitative methodology. Again, for qualitative, for example, after getting the extract, the quality of a extract containing the crystal and winblistan can be analyzed by standard HPLC protocol, high performance liquid chromatography. Will mostly ನಿಮಗೆ HPLC you have in the fourth model will detail like explain what the qualitative methodology. So such information has to be there. Apart from that, it's sort of research laboratory field work where you have visited, what is the longitude as well as the latitude of that area, and what is that particular area belongs, how it is there, and which district, which taluk, which village, and which hobli. All the information should be there. And who has given the idea to visit that particular field? Where the naturally you have gone, randomly visited, and someone has insisted you to go there and get the information. And what were the experiments you are conducting over there? Nothing but ಒಂದು ಏನೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಒಂದು ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ವಿಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಡೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ದ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ದಿ diameter of the tree, height of a tree, frequency of a tree, all those things you are going to get. Then for that you are going to employ Shannon's index and Simpson diversity index and Ronchi standard formulas you are going to apply. That has to be mentioned in the methodology. Fine. So this is what the research methodology and or materials as well as materials and methods. Materials and methods is the, apart from APA, all the style guides requires the heading as materials and methods, where APA guidelines requires methodology. Yeah, directly. There is no difference. Only they have changed the title. The remaining portion is correct. Now coming to the result. This is the most important component because this section or this component will tell you the caliber of your research article. So if you have written the cover page, abstract, introduction, background, methodology, very tremendous. If the results are not up to the mark, the results are not convincing to the audience, then your article will not be having any output. One more thing. So why we have to publish and share about? Only the audience go to the. So why the audience has to know that? One, what is the importance? If the audience are reading more your article more and more numbers, what is the use to you? Adane heltene at the end of the today's slide. Okay na? This particular result should say what does your study find? What is the final output of the research? That has to be mentioned in the results. So it includes the final findings, and that findings should be mentioned in the form of a text, in the tables, in the figures, in the arts, anything. That should be very scientifically well written. So what was the evaluation process you have done? How you are going to justify that the result of that particular research is quite different, significantly different than other articles which have been published earlier. That should be there. The result